Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you to join Scotty and the coach coming up tomorrow in Nephi for the Bar Dub Grill off exit 222. They'll be doing their show live on location from 10 to 2. All right, let's talk some Summer League basketball. We welcome our next guest back to the show, host of the Sports Junkies right there in our nation's capital, John Auville, with us on Jake and Ben. What's going on, John?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We're doing well. Appreciate you jumping on with us. We have noticed, or I have noticed, Jazz fans keeping a very close eye on A.J. Dybantsa's numbers, not just because he played at BYU, but because everyone wants to feel like they drafted the best player. So Jazz fans are pulling for Darren, and I'm sure Wizards fans are pulling for A.J. Do you get the sense that this is going to be a Greg Oden, Kevin Durant situation where the two sides are watching one another very closely for the first few years of their careers?
I think they'll be pretty intertwined. I mean, just because of the competition and the race to be drafted number one overall, and the last couple of weeks, maneuvering and jockeying by Peterson's camp to basically make it seem like he was going to be the number one pick by the Wizards when, it was just, agent speak and jockeying to get that number one pick. But look, I think if both develop into superstars, then both fan bases are going to be happy. And, if you look at the early returns from Summer League, we talked about this being a top-heavy, top four players really distance themselves from the rest of the draft. And you're seeing that play out with Dybantsa and Peterson there in Utah, Caleb Wilson, he's looked good so far, Boozer in Memphis. So I think all of these guys can be stars in their respective cities. And maybe after a few years, we'll get over the silly, comps between who's picked one, who went 2 and 3. And, we'll just enjoy the exploits of these guys in their various cities.
John, I'm kind of a bah humbug guy, and I get really frustrated with the wild overreactions in Summer League. I mean, one day they're headed to the Hall of Fame. Sure. The next day they should be released outright by the team. I'm guessing that the Washington fan base has been pretty similar about A.J. Dybantsa as the Jazz fan base has about Darren Peterson.
Oh, yeah, they're thrilled, but, you have to temper it with, I don't remember how many years ago it was, but maybe you guys remember when Glenn Rice Jr. and Otto Porter were lighting the Summer League on fire for the Wizards, and people back here were going nuts, and, you have to temper that enthusiasm. But it is refreshing to see a guy who, the Wizards, it confirmed their priors for the selection. Dybantsa is a guy who can score effortlessly. He's going to live at the free throw line. He's averaging 25 points in Summer League games without even really dipping into the three-point game that we know he has. But that does need to improve. 33%. You'd like to see him get that number a little bit higher. But look, again, you don't want to overreact to what he's done in 2 Summer League games. And, I'm sure you guys saw this news. It came out about an hour and a half ago that Dybantsa is going to be shut down for the rest of the Summer League. So, the Wizards fans got a taste of the brand new toy, and I agree with shutting him down. Like he passed every test. He did everything you needed to see him do outside of him having a crazy 5 for 7 from 3-point land performance. I agree with the Wizards shutting him down for the rest of the Summer League duration.
John, I'm a dumb guy, so I just like to watch him play as much as possible, in all honesty.
Sure.
So I totally get if it was my Ferrari I was driving around and I didn't have to, I'd park it in the garage as much as possible. But from what we did see from AJ, it's always amazing to me. You see these guys in college and what their reputation is generally translates to the NBA. Sometimes it doesn't. You were talking about some of the names there. We also saw Trey Burke in the Summer League absolutely disappear and never really made it as an NBA player, and that was apparent right away. But it seems like all signs are positive from A.J. Dybantsa. The scoring translates. He's going to get to the mid-range. He didn't look like anybody could guard him. Certainly when the Jazz played against him, I think he's going to hit the ground running.
Yeah, all those things you mentioned are true, but I think one other thing that there was a slight question mark about, and again, it's 2 games. You don't want to overreact too much, but he shows a willingness to play defense. And this is a Wizards team that historically, and this doesn't just go, back a year or two. This goes back 20 or 30 years, a team that basically is allergic to playing defense. So if A.J. Dybantsa is willing and able to be a good defender, and hopefully that rubs off on some of the other guys, it probably won't rub off on Trae Young. I don't know that anything's going to make him a good defender, but if the rest of the team sees that hustle and that grit from a 19-year-old rookie, maybe they follow along and can be better defensive players as well. And that would really be helped if Anthony Davis winds up actually playing a game in a Wizards uniform. So, yeah, all the things they wanted to see, they saw. They were on display in those two games out in Vegas. And the defensive prowess, I think, was probably a pleasant surprise for Wizards officials and the team brass.
So the team obviously invested in Trae Young with that new contract. So it does beg the question, how do you think A.J. and Trae fit next to each other?
I think they're going to make it work somehow. I mean, Trae Young, we know that his style of play has kind of fallen out of favor in the NBA. Smaller guard, ball dominant, has the ball all the time. There have been discussions, over the past few weeks about him being less that type of player and getting the ball more in A.J. Dybantsa's hands, which you like. If you have multiple offensive weapons on your team that you can trot out, you want to get the ball in their hands as much as possible. And A.J. Dybantsa needs to touch the ball a lot. He should touch the ball a lot. He can be an offensive spark for a team that was desperate for offensive production last year. You add Trae Young to that mix, basically after signing a 4-year, $212 million free agent deal. We'll have to see what happens with Anthony Davis, how he works into that mix. So I think that they'll be able to coexist well together, and I think Trae Young could resurrect his career here in Washington. I think things just got stale for him there in Atlanta, and a change of scenery may do him a world of good.
So what does Washington need to do coming up this year? Is it just going to be about trying to display A.J. Dybantsa, seeing how high his ceiling might get or be so they can start to rearrange the roster around him? Or do you think there's a desire to win 35, 45 games this year and compete for the postseason? Or can you do both?
I think it's clearly the latter. I mean, they definitely want to keep developing the young players, Dybantsa included, but this is a fan base that has endured just epic losing over, during the tanking era and the deconstruction of the roster. Like anything short of contending for a playoff spot, I think will be viewed as a major shortcoming here in Washington. So they obviously want to keep developing the young players like Dybantsa, like Will Riley, who went off for 32 in one of the summer league games. But make no mistake, this team does not want to be in the neighborhood of winning 17 to 20 games. If that happens again, then it's a catastrophe for the Washington Wizards. Like, I'm not guaranteeing they're going to make the playoffs, but they have to be in playoff contention for this rebuild to really start showing some real signs for the fan base.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
We also have those rumors about Anthony Davis possibly being traded to Golden State. Do we know how much a part of the plan Anthony Davis is? Are they shopping him? Does he want to be there? What's the situation there?
It's kind of like been a roller coaster, to be honest with you, since Anthony Davis was acquired. Like, he didn't say much when he was first added to the team, and he didn't actually play any games after he was acquired. He's basically shut down because this team was in full tank mode, kind of like the Utah Jazz and a handful of other teams were down the stretch of the season. But I think they want to see Anthony Davis along with Trae Young and Dybantsa and see what that sort of mix brings, because they needed to add some veteran presence to this young core that they've been drafting over the last 2 or 3 off seasons. So I think they want Anthony Davis here. I think they're going to extend him when he becomes eligible on August 6th. I don't know if he's going to be signing the 4-year, I believe, $275 million Supermax that he's eligible for. But I think Wizards GM Will Dawkins wants to keep him here long term And I think he's going to find some sort of deal that works for him and Rich Paul and works for the Wizards as well. So I'm expecting Anthony Davis to sign an extension probably within the next month and a half here.
Well, John, thank you for jumping on with us. We really appreciate it, especially, in the hot days of summer when Summer League is the most important thing going on. So we appreciate you.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. Talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, John. John Auville from the Sports Junkies in Washington, D.C.
Maybe it's because I've got 250 on the brain, or we've been watching World Cup, so there's some patriotism baked into all of this. But it will be fun, ideally, if these guys pan out, to watch Darren Peterson and A.J. Dybantsa and Caleb Wilson playing on a Olympic team together. Or in, when's the next Summer Olympics? 2 years? 3 years? I mean, they probably won't be on that roster, but 6 years down the line, we start to see those guys on the same roster. That could be fun.
Man, I just can't help but feeling bad for A.J. Dybantsa.
Okay.
What a disaster. Listening to John talk about extending street clothes and the contract that he's eligible for, which they'd be crazy to give that to him. But they don't trade for him if they're not looking to extend the guy. So A.J. Dybantsa has to go play with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. He's never going to get the ball. What's the one thing everybody says about A.J. Dybantsa? And really, you watched him at BYU, and it's true. Dude needs the ball.
Yeah, he needs touches.
He's never going to have the ball, ever.
And by the way, he's worth it. He's good enough that he deserves to have touches. Nobody ever complained about Michael touching the ball too much. Now, I'm not comparing A.J. to Michael, but the best player on your team should basically touch the ball just about as much as possible. I mean, that's honestly, if we want to, boil it down, make it as simplified as possible, the best player needs touches. If you've got all these guys taking the ball out of their hands, it's going to be rough for AJ.
No, we haven't even talked about Alex Sarr.
Yeah, right.
Who's at very least
Trey Johnson.
established themselves there in Washington. Poor AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Go stand in the corner, bro. That's how they're going to use him. Bad teams are bad teams for a reason.
Yep, they are. And you were talking about a conversation you had with PK, and because I wasn't here last week during the Donovan Mitchell extension.
Multiple conversations with PK.
And just kind of the thought, which, by the way, I was saying this 3 weeks ago about Walker Kessler, that, well, you have to re-sign him, right? Because you can't lose the salary, you can't lose the future trade piece, et cetera, et cetera. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to allow this person to walk. Now, technically, the Jazz didn't let Walker Kessler walk.
More than technically. They got plenty.
They got a lot back. They got draft picks back. But you know what? You can let guys walk. You absolutely can. Just call a team's bluff and say, yeah, we're going to pivot. Like, was it ideal? No. Was it easy? Certainly not. But we have the job to take the next step. We can't just collapse. We can't just fall apart and put our head in our hands and start crying. Like, if the Cavaliers decided, hey, you know what? Donovan Mitchell at $70 million doesn't make any sense for us. I think that would have actually been totally justifiable. Now, that might have not been correct, and it might have been too big of a gamble for them to feel comfortable doing. But if you were to tell me that 4 years from now, and I don't like this trade, obviously, but if you tell me 4 years from now we're looking back at the Jaylen Brown, Paul George trade, and it's not a clear A-plus win for the Philadelphia 76ers, I don't know if I'm going to be stunned.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to be paying Jaylen Brown $70 million as a 33-year-old.
Paying the wrong guy.
Needs a lot of touches.
Yep.
And the Boston Celtics might say, yeah, well, we use that $70 million in flexibility to go do X, Y, and Z. And if we look back 3 years from now and say, holy cow, the Lakers are paying Walker Kessler a lot of money to be the fifth best player on their team, and they have no flexibility now to build around Luka Doncic, and the Jazz are pretty happy about having these 31 and 33 unprotected future first that they can dangle in trades or whatever the picks are or swaps. That wouldn't stun me either. So sometimes, yes, saying no, as hard as it is the right decision.
Depending on what your goal is.
Depending on what your goal is.
And PK was very concerned about the Cleveland Cavaliers sponsorship team and their ability to make money.
Yes. So.
But if you're talking about winning a championship, you got to give that 70 to the right player if you're going to give that 70 to anybody at all.
Correct.
So.
Something I have been worried about for a very long time in the NBA, and I've said it several times, is the best player tax. We give the best player on every NBA team a max contract for some reason. And it's just the tax of they're the best player on your team.
Because you're scared of losing them.
Because you're scared of losing them, even if they're the wrong guy.
Yep.
Well, imagine if you operated your life that way. You know, imagine if every time you went to the grocery store, the item you needed the most, you paid the most for. Well, you would go broke. Well, you need toilet cleaner today. It's the most, whatever you need. Doesn't mean you're paying $70 for it. If you did that and spent the wrong money on the wrong thing, you wouldn't have any money in your bank account anymore. And that's how NBA teams should operate. And I think sometimes are too afraid to.
It's Tuesday. We can do Hot Take Tuesday later, but we've got the post-game show. Spain beat France and Landon Donovan's there. And listen, I think it's cool that he's been upfront about his hair transplant and saying this is something that I've felt self-conscious about and I'm going to do something about it and whatever. He needed a better doctor. He looks ridiculous.
It's not the best piece. I'm looking at it right now.
It's not a piece. I think he had the surgery. He did it all on social media and stuff. But it's like you wonder where some of these people in Hollywood hire their plastic surgeons. It's like you got a lot of money. You need a better doctor.
Yeah. You don't do a lot of social media. You don't do Instagram, right? So based on our jobs, sometimes, and I will say, I commit payola regularly, but not with this. I had a dentist reach out and was like, yeah, do you want to do veneers or something? And I thought, I don't think that's the person I want doing my veneers.
You're
the door-to-door salesman trying to fix my teeth as a radio host. Doesn't really make a lot of sense.
I'll find a dentist.
Anyways.
Yeah.
But, Landon Donovan responding to a DM on social media to get his wig done. It's probably not the best idea.
But I want to reiterate, I do think it's cool that he's embraced it. You know, if people want to better their self-esteem, knock yourself right out. But
you're an adult.
Right, exactly. But find a better doctor. We can find a guy. I'm sure Christian knows a guy.
Absolutely.
Christian's probably
got his plugs done.
Got a transplant guy.
I'm watching the video right now. it's not a transplant. It is just
it is a rug?
Yeah,
I
it's
thought it
glued
was
on.
Oh, I thought it was the surgery.
I'll send it to you on Instagram.
Oh, then he definitely can do better.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
You got to get a better tube guy then.
Because, no, that's not a good one.
No, that's terrible.
And we only need him once every 4 years, maybe once every 2 years if he's doing the Olympics, if the men qualify. So
I do like it that he threw Pulisic under the bus, though.
Go to Turkey, pal.
Those
guys look great. This, you got you get the little thing on your hat.
He, when he threw Pulisic under the bus, he threw, Pulisic's family and his people, so they're difficult to deal with. And you know what? Pulisic did kind of stink.
I know. You pointed out yesterday, I think accurately, that maybe this was not a great accomplishment from the U.S. men's national team.
No, I don't think so. All right, Bob Casper joins us next. We're going to talk about the Open Championship. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We all have routines. I'm Jabron, and with diabetes, mine was finger sticks. Sometimes I skip them because they hurt. The Freestyle Libre 3CGM changed that. It gives me glucose insights without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Finger sticks are required if your glucose alarms or readings do not match symptoms, or when you see check blood glucose symbol for the first 12 hours. The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.